Bonjour mes amis! Can you tell I just finished doing my French homework? Welcome to a new vlog, besties. I'm really excited about this one because I just realized yesterday that I'm currently reading 2 sports romance books at the same time, so I figured I might as well vlog the experience. The first book is an audiobook that I very gratefully got from Libro FM, and that is Deep End by Ali Hazelwood. This is her most recent release, and it is about a swimmer and a diver who get together. Now, I am not gonna lie, Ali Hazelwood has never been like my favorite author ever. I really kind of enjoyed Love Hypothesis. That may be a controversial opinion. I thought it was just a fun time. I know it was really silly, but I liked it. However, I did not like Love on the Brain and Love Theoretically because I felt like they were just copy-paste of what she knew had worked in the past with Love Hypothesis. Then I read Bride by her last year, and I love that book. Again, it's silly, it's messy, it's kinky, but like I give it 4.5 stars. It was really good. Oh, and I also read a Christmas novella that I liked by her. So I've had 3 that I like and 2 that I kind of did not like. So this is my 6th book, I guess, by her, which is kind of crazy now that I think about it. And so far, I'm really enjoying this. I think I might actually be more of an Ali Hazelwood stan than I thought I was, which is lovely because like I love finding a new favorite author. Like I said, this follows a swimmer and a diver. So our main character, Scarlett, she is a diver. I don't know if she's an Olympic diver or that she wants to go to the Olympics, something like that, but she's in college, she's very good at what she does, and she is friends with this girl named Penelope, who is like the captain of the diving team, who was dating this guy named Lucas, who is an Olympic gold medalist swimmer, also at the same college, and they go to Stanford in California, I think. Lucas is this tall, Swedish, kind of quiet man that Pen had apparently been dating for years and years, but she's finding that they just really aren't compatible like this far in the relationship, and she wants to break up, but she's not sure. Come to find out, the reason that Penelope and Lucas were not compatible is because Lucas was interested in some things in the bedroom that Penelope was not interested in, which is totally fine. But Scarlett was like, wait a second, I might be interested in those things. Like, hold the phone. And that's how the story starts. It also has, of course, Ali Hazelwood's classic trademark of like STEMinist literature, in that it's about a girl who's in college who, I mean, in this case does sports, but she is also incredibly smart and is really advanced in specifically like science. And then also her maybe getting closer to this guy named Lucas because they both have pretty kinky stuff they're into and they bond over it. 40% of the way through this audiobook, so really flying through it considering I started it like yesterday. But I can read it fast at like 2.2 times speed because it's just an easy read and I'm loving it. Now, I do have the other book right here, but unfortunately I left the dust jacket on my bookshelf and I love the dust jacket, so let me go grab it real quick. I'll be right back. Oh my gosh, I'm almost died. Okay, we're back. I was trying to get up on my desk to like get up onto my bed, and our college has like the anti-suicide chairs, and so they like swing backwards, and so I almost fell over. All right, so all this lead up for this cover, I hope you like it because I think it's gorgeous. But the second book that I'm currently working through right now, a different sports romance, although surprisingly similar, is The Favorites by Lane Fargo. This book I recently got in one of my last vlogs that I posted, and I just think the cover is absolutely like gorgeous. It's 2 ice skaters, figure skaters, the sparkles, the colors, you can just like see the passion, the energy in the cover. I think it's awesome. I think it's gorgeous. So basically this one follows our main character, Katarina Shaw. She is an Olympic, or want to be an Olympic figure skater. Again, like the whole thing with sports and Olympians and things like that. She grew up with kind of a difficult house life, but she has known this guy Heath Rocha for years and years. They met when they were like 10. He became her foster brother, kind of. Her dad became his legal guardian because he was in not a good foster home, and they've been best friends forever. He skated with her, he learned to figure skate, and that's how they started doing partnering together. They go to competitions, they try to get better, but her goal is always to be the best, to be the Olympian, be just like Sheila Lynn, who is her model. It's kind of like Gracie Gold being like a huge figure skater, like the icon, you know, for a couple of years. I remember when I was younger, I used to like watch her on TV and be absolutely obsessed with Gracie Gold. So it's the story of them and their relationship and the experience. She is just so dead set on becoming the absolute best, whereas Heath is so dead set on loving her and making her happy. Even if skating is not his dream, he will do it for her. And we start out this book after all this has occurred, and we're like flashing back and telling the story of what happened. A lot of this book is told in documentary format, and then the other part of it is told as if Katarina is narrating from the future, explaining the past. So it's like Katarina is telling her story, and then the documentary is also telling like the public story, and it's interviewing interviewing other side characters. So it gives very much like Taylor Jenkins Reid, Daisy Jones and the Six, if you know what I'm talking about. First of all, I love that book and the show. It's so good. But that book is told completely, like 100% interview format. This one is told 40% interview format and then 60% narrative, but it's still interesting to get that back and forth, and it makes the pages go by faster. I am currently 184 pages through this book, so I'm at like 42-ish%, I think that's what I put in Goodreads earlier today. I am enjoying the story a lot. Again, for some reason I'm really into Olympian sports right now as far as the things that I'm reading, but I am frustrated a bit with our main characters because we're getting to the point where their romance is becoming toxic. We're getting to the point where there are many issues in their relationship that are happening, and I can see the path that Katerina is falling down, the trap that she's falling into of like fame and glory and like wanting to be the best, and then she just like loses herself in that process. And I can see Heath following a similar path for different reasons as well, so it's just like a big mess. It's the process that you have to go to read the book. I understand that, but it's a little frustrating to do so because I'm like, girl, come on, like this is not the right move. It's not. But I'm sure by the end of this book we will see what happens. Because it's more realistic than just a fluffy romance, it could actually end on a sad note. So I'm nervous, but I've only heard good things about this book and I'm really excited to finish it. So those are what I'm currently reading. I'll update you guys more when I've gotten further into the books, but if you want to join me for a week of reading sports romances, pick up one of these two or maybe something else in the sports genre and let's read some good books together. I just got a package in the mail and I wanted to do a quick unboxing with you guys. This has nothing to do with books, but I'm partnering with this company on my bullet journal channel and I just got the package with the goodies inside, so I wanted to open it with y'all. This video isn't sponsored. My other video on my other channel is going to be sponsored, but I just wanted to share it over here because it's like a fun package to open. So the company is Ligné and I got some jewelry with them. First of all, they're all so adorable. They have like a little bow around each one. Like that's so cute, I feel. Okay, the first one is this ring. It's like little square circle shapes have been like flattened. So dainty on the finger, I love. Next, let's see. This next ring is pretty simple. It's just like a plain band, but there is some like flattened pieces to it. I don't know if you can see on camera. Let me put it on my finger. But like it's not just a plain band. There's some like faceting on it. This last ring may be my absolute favorite. It's like an open leaf ring. It has like these sparkly leaf pieces coming towards the center and then there's a gap in the middle. That's so pretty. I'm obsessed. And I got the matching earrings as well. So these are the matching earrings. They're like the same leaf design and then they have a little dangly pearl. Oh, my headphones in the way. I usually wear like these big gold hoops, but let me see if I can change them for the little pearl dangles. And it has like a little dangly earring. To talk about books, because obviously that's what this video is about, I am past the halfway mark in both of the books that I'm currently reading. I am really enjoying both of the books, just in different ways, I feel. Ali Hazelwood's book is like fun, contemporary, spicy. It's just like classic sports athlete in college kind of romance, you know? She definitely is struggling with some mental health issues because she's had an injury that has affected her performance. Just like also working through like her busy schedule and dealing with Lucas and all that stuff. So she has a lot going on, but it's very like fun. It's classic Ali Hazelwood, right? It's just like a fun time, easy to breeze through. The other book, The Favorites, on the other hand, is a little bit more difficult to work through because it's like taking a longer span of time. The characters I feel have a little bit more depth to them. Well, I can't spoil what just happened, but I'm happy with where our characters are now. However, we're only halfway, so I know it's only going to go back downhill from here. It's like it started good, went down, we're at the middle point, we're back up again, now it's going to go down again. I just know it. And again, I don't know how the book is going to end, so I'm just crossing my fingers that it has a happy ending, but we'll just have to see. But overall, like both are looking to be like 4+ stars. They're both like super enjoyable. I'm really enjoying both of my reads. This like big pimple on my forehead that I indeed was messing with this morning, which is why it's red, so it is my fault, but however, it is still annoying me. Anyway, I want to talk about my final thoughts on Deep End because I finished this audiobook last night and yeah. Yeah, this was fantastic. Just to start things out on a good note, I gave this book 4.5 stars. Like, Ali Hazelwood pulls it off yet again. Like I said before, some of her books I have not liked, but the recent ones that I've read by her have all just been really, really good. I have a couple qualms about this book, but overall, such a great experience. And if you listen or read it, please listen to it on the audiobook, because I only listen to it, so I can't compare it to physically reading it, but let's just say that the audiobook narrator for the guy in this book has a Swedish accent. And I'm still unwell over it. It's so good. One of my biggest problems with Ali Hazelwood's books in general is that the main girl character is usually just like super quirky and like a little too quirky for me. In this situation, I would say that I have preferred previous characters. Like Misery from Bride by Ali Hazelwood is my favorite girl character she's written before, but I do feel like Scarlett in this book was not too far on the quirky scale. I felt like she was quite relatable in some ways, and although sometimes I did want to shake her because I was like, girl, you are paying more attention to what your friend is telling you or what you think your friend wants more than the guy who is like over here practically professing his love for you. Like, start being a little bit more selfish, not even selfish, but just like stop thinking about what other people care about you. Think about what you need and what is right for you. Anyway, that's like a whole other thing. But besides that, I feel like I really liked the girl character. The guy in this, however, Lucas, part of it is the accent, I'm not gonna lie, but even if I was just reading this without the accent, like on my Kindle or something, genuinely, this guy character has made it to like top 10 list of book boyfriends. I am not kidding. Something about the way he speaks, the things he does, he's so attentive, which is like perfection. He's always like words of affirmationing her. He's always seeing her when no one else does, which is such a big thing for me, I feel. And I don't even need to get into the spicy stuff because, wow. Yeah, he's on the top 10 for sure. He's incredible. I'm in love with Lucas. Also, he's an Olympic swimmer and super smart. So, like, what is there not to like, to be honest? Of course, since you guys know the premise of this book, it is on the spicier side, I would say, for Ali Hazelwood. I would say that Bride is a pretty spicy book because of the specific trope that happens in there, but this one is a little bit more like contemporary focused, but still has that. However, one of my qualms about this book actually is that it was like promoted as like a pretty wild and kinky story, and we kind of go into the book thinking that it's gonna go like crazy places because of like the build-up in the relationship. And I'm not saying that the spice was not good, because it was phenomenal. However, I feel like, to be honest, it was also pretty normal. Like, there wasn't anything that is super crazy or out of the ordinary, I feel. I've read spicier books, let's just say the least. And I'm not saying that's a problem, but it is something that I think is like a gap between how the book was promoted and how it actually was. And I feel like I've read a lot of Goodreads reviews that are saying the same thing, saying that like we were expecting more and it was just kind of normal, which is fine. Out of all the qualms you can have about this book, definitely not a bad one at all. But I do think that out of all the comments and critique about it, this is like the number one thing that is mentioned. And I'm really happy with another Ali Hazelwood book that I have loved. So that means that Bride, Cruel Winter, this one, Love Hypothesis, those are 4 books by her that I've liked, and only 2 books that I thought were like copycat, feminist, boring, too quirky. So 4-2, pretty good for me. Apparently I'm a Ali Hazelwood stan. I've been reading a lot of her books, and she writes so fast, so I know we'll be getting another one like probably by the end of this year, early next. So those are my thoughts on Deep End. Pick it up, and if you do, pick up that audiobook, girl, because the accent, it did things to me. I know this lighting is about to be so dark. The weather is so dark and cloudy outside. It has been all week. It's February in Texas, and the weather is fluctuating like every 20 minutes. So I don't have good lighting, but I had to pull up the camera anyway. Hopefully it's not that bad, because I need to talk about The Favorites by Lynn Fargo, because I finished this book this morning, like before my alarm even went off. I woke up early, just coincidentally, and then I had like 50 pages left, so I flew through it. I filmed the last little bit. You saw me crying in my absolutely stupid head wrap. I know I looked so dumb, but like I was going through it with the ending of this book, and I have to talk about it. I have to. Unlike for Deep End, I do have some spoilery thoughts about this book, but I'm going to talk non-spoiler first. So drumroll please, because I gave this book 5 stars. Yeah, I did. And I wasn't expecting to, honestly. Like, throughout the entire time reading, I was going back and forth between 4, 4.5. It was never really giving me that 5-star feeling for most of the book. I felt like I had a couple qualms with it. Specifically, number one, a lot of this is quite choppy. It's very much, I mean, it takes the span of like 30 plus years, I feel, 20 plus, 30 plus years. So it's like a long time with this book. And I find that often when authors are trying to do long spans of time well, they don't spend too much time in each moment. They get in, they get out very quickly. So you get what happens, you get all that you need to know, but you don't spend too much time in that one spot, which I do think is good to make sure that the book didn't drag out too long. It's about 420 pages, so it's the perfect length in my opinion. I just feel like because it was a little choppy, we did get a little bit of tell not show as far as the connection between Heath and Kat. I mean, okay, that's not true. I felt the connection so strong, especially when they were skating together. Like, they talk about how they were just like completely in sync and they could feel what the other person needed to do on the ice rink just by like the touch of their hand, and like they could just almost communicate telepathically because of how well they knew each other and how close they were. I just felt like maybe towards the beginning, like the romance part of it maybe is a little bit tell not show. However, I also have to pay attention to the fact that this is not a romance book. This is almost literary fiction with a subplot of romance, because although the main characters are in love, there is so much more to this story, and their relationship also just goes through ups and downs and really windy, twisty roads. So overall, like, this was just, it was so incredible. The character development is so good. Like, you don't like the characters for like most of the characters in this you don't like for like half of the book, and it's so impressive because to make you hate a character and still root for them and still want them to win, that's an impressive feat that an author can accomplish. And I don't hate the characters in this. Like, there were parts that I wanted to like strangle some of them, trust me, but at the end of this I do recognize that they have their flaws for sure, but I still just have love in my heart for all of them nonetheless. And then I got to the last final chapters and I knew that Lamb was going to pull something crazy, but I for some reason did not expect myself to absolutely get wrecked with emotion. Like, I was just reading the last couple pages and I read a sentence that's a spoiler, but I read it and I all of a sudden start sobbing on camera, as you guys saw, like tears streaming down my face. Now, I will say it's not really a spoiler, but thank the Lord that Lane Fargo gave this book a happy ending. Okay, it's not a perfect ending, but it is not abundantly sad and it's not like absolutely heartbreaking. So I do want you to know that going into it, this takes you on a ride with your heart, trust me, but things pull together in the end. With that being said, I want to get into some spoiler territory, so I'll put a timestamp on the screen that you can skip ahead to the next book if you don't want to hear any spoilers, or if you want to read this book and you haven't yet. But yeah, 5 stars. This was actually so good, and I'm really glad that I have a hardcover because, again, I love the cover, like the actual cover of the book, and I love owning books that I think are just phenomenal, and this was indeed phenomenal. All right, so spoilers starting right now. Bella's pregnancy. I did guess it a little bit further in advance. I should have guessed it probably earlier. There's always some kind of surprise pregnancy in books like this. In this case, though, having Heath be the dad, but everyone coming to just group consensus that Heath is the dad, Bella is the mom, but they can have that familial relationship and parent so well together because they are such good friends and they have such a connection, and still recognize that Heath only has romantic feelings for Kat and that they are still such a duo, a couple. They're like a package deal, you know? Not the easiest, of course, ending to come across, but I thought that it was well done in the way it was like vaguely explained, because like there are so many family relationships in the real world that aren't like the perfect mom, dad, and 2 kids, you know? Like, there's a lot of complex relationships out there, and so it's like well represented in this book. And the fact that it was Heath's baby was a bit of a surprise, I'm not gonna lie. And also the fact that, oh my god, when they were at the Olympic Village and Kat walks into them together in bed, I was like, oh, Heath, you didn't. Like, for a majority of the book, I feel like I was more on Heath's side than Kat, because I feel like Heath was trailing after Kat a lot of times. But that being said, Heath is still a very flawed character as well in the choices that he makes and the secrets that he holds and things like that. So it was just like a back and forth. Both of you, I can see your point of views, but I can see your flaws as well. I'm like rambling a lot, but pregnancy, crazy. Cheating, crazy. Next on my list is Evil Franny. Oh my god. I guessed that a little bit earlier, honestly, too. A couple things in this book I guessed, but maybe not to the full extent. I was talking to my mom about this earlier. I was like, the whole thing with Franny being the one of the, like, quote, evil antagonists that actually ended up switching Heath's pills at the very end of the story. I suspected that she was involved with it because she was just too sweet, too nice, and she just kept getting, unfortunately, a lot of bad luck with getting pushed out of, like, gold for a lot of competitions because of the two of them. Also, there's no way that she is not involved in this, especially towards the end. It started getting really heavy-handed. I was like, okay, I know that she is the bad guy. And they also mentioned pills a lot in like the last couple chapters before what actually happened. So I was like, okay, why are we focusing on this so much? Is there going to be an issue with the pills? Like, I'm not sure. They weren't giving them like doping stuff or anything like that. They were giving him pills that were literally causing a heart attack. Like, that I was not expecting at all. I was like, oh, you're kidding me. And so the scene when it's their final dance or final performance on Olympic ice, and they're like completely wrapped up in the moment. They have the most amazing skate of their lives, and then Kat finally kisses Heath after like so long of them being separated and like having such a rough relationship, and then he literally starts like gushing blood from the mouth and falls to the ground on the ice. I was like, you're kidding me? And that's like when I bursted into tears, as anyone would. I feel like genuinely thought Lane Fargo was going to kill him off. Like, actually, I thought that she was coming for our throats, because the way that this book is written, it pulls no punches, truly. And so I felt like it was going to cross that line. And I'm just thinking, Lane Fargo, I'm on my knees. Thank you so much that there's a happy ending in this book, because you could take it two ways. It's like the movie Get Out, if you guys have seen that movie. Fantastic movie. So scary, but so real. And there are two ways that they could have taken that ending. And when I first watched it, like, my heart dropped at the very end when like the police lights, if you know, you know. I was like, no way, we did all that work just for something to be bad. But there is a relatively happy ending to Get Out, so I was like, okay, we could have done something terrible, but thank the Lord that they took the happy ending route. I felt the same way with this book. I was like, thank God. Again, 5 stars, très incroyable. I just have no words. This is my third 5-star of the year, actually, and my only one that hasn't been a reread. I am going to be taking a break from this vlog for a couple days, but it'll be like 2 seconds for you. You're not going to notice a difference before I get to the next book. So I'm not sure what the next book is going to be yet, but you will see literally right now what I pick next. It is so cold outside. Heater is on. I need to get my life together. Okay, so fix my hair a little bit. I just did a little bit of a cleanup in here. I'm in like a weird funk right now. I'm on my period. It's cold, like so cold outside, randomly in the middle of February. My desk was a mess. I just feel like very overstimulated. So I tried to like take a few minutes, clean up everything. So yeah, all that to say, I'm back to this vlog with my last sports romance. And I was thinking about what I wanted to read, and then obviously it clicked. I was like, of course I have to pick up something by Liz Tomforde, or I heard it's actually pronounced Tomforde. So currently I'm in the middle of the Windy City series by her, but the first 2 books gave them 4 and 4.5 stars respectively. So this morning I picked up Caught Up by Liz Tomforde. This is the 3rd book about, I think, baseball players. His name is Kai and her name is Montgomery? That's her last name. Miller. Her name is Miller. And I think she's a chef going to become his nanny for his little son, which, by the way, I adore little kids, but I have a hard time reading them in books. Like, you either do it well and I love them, or you do it terribly and I hate them and they're annoying. But again, I love kids in real life. Like, I volunteered at a children's nursery like every other Sunday. I'm always little kids, but reading about them is like, you do it right or you do it wrong, and I can tell when you do it wrong, you know? So I'm really crossing my fingers that Liz writes this little kid well. I think that she will. I've only heard good things about this book, but yeah, that's what I'm gonna get into. I'm literally like 8 pages in. So I don't have any updates at all yet. We're gonna be reading Caught Up. I'm very excited about it. And considering that so far in this video, we've only had 2 extremely good reads, like 4.5 and 5 stars are so good. So I'm hoping that we can end out this vlog on a banger. Let's cross our fingers. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Okay, it has been a day and a half, let me tell you. I'd love to be sitting here giving you guys a book update on Caught Up by Liz Tomforde. However, this weekend has been, it's only Saturday, but it's been such a mess, and I've not read anything for the past couple of days. I yesterday got out of classes at noon and I was like, you know what, it's Friday, let me go to Half Price Books, you know, get myself a little pick-me-up. And I walked out to my car, and guess whose battery died? This girl. Y'all, her battery died. So today I had to like call AAA, fix it. So yeah, it's been a day and I haven't read any of Caught Up, but I have a little book haul that I want to show you guys because of course I'm going to show you a book haul. Do I need to be buying any more books? No. I have plenty of books on my physical TBR. I also am like running out of room on my bookshelf. I don't need to buy more. And here we are. So all of these still have their stickers on them, so I'm going to hopefully like peel them off before I show them to you. But the first book I got is definitely a book I've already read before, trust me. But it's one that I put in my video of books that I want to reread. And it's also a book that, with the state of this country, could be banned soon. So I'm trying to get these books in paperback before they are banned. And that book is The Hunger Games. This is the first of the series. If you don't know the series, this is not the channel for you. I'm kidding, but like, if you haven't read this, pick this up. This is a YA dystopian fiction about a dystopian, so basically a society that goes downhill, and every year 24 kids between the ages of 12 and 18 are sent to basically this death match. They fight to the death, last one standing wins, and they do it again next year. Although this is a YA book and Suzanne Collins wrote this, you know, as like an enjoyable read for younger audiences, this has such a good message for older people as well. And also because the prequel is coming out in a couple months, or the second prequel, I wanted to get my hands on the physical copies of the original series. So that book was, let's see, $6.49 and half price. The next book was $8.49. Let me get this sticker off as well. And that is Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Again, this is a reread for me because I have already read this book, but once again, I read it digitally, so I don't actually have a paperback copy, and I would love to have one to physically annotate. It's a very small baby book. They're all kind of small, to be honest, all three of these. This is 363 pages, so, you know, very quick read. And what's amazing about this book is it's actually told completely in interview format. So it's not like you're reading swaths of like scene descriptions or anything like that. It's literally just dialogue to an interviewer. This story is so good, and they actually made a TV show retelling of this. As you can see, it says now a streaming series on Prime Video. I've watched it like 2 or 3 times. The show is so good. It's a 1-season show, but it's really does an incredible job of recreating the story in here. I think it's very accurate. And then the last book is, thank God, one that I had never read before. It was $8.99, so much cheaper than I could find at like Barnes & Noble or something. And that is Rock, Paper, Scissors by Alice Feeney. This is a thriller novel, but it's a very short one and one I've heard really good things about. I want to get into new genres that I haven't read before, so I figured something that I've heard good things about would be a great way to start. This is about a couple who goes off to a weekend in Scotland. It's Mr. and Mrs. Wright, spelled with a W, Wright. Marital issues, thriller, in the woods, I'm assuming the snowy woods of Scotland. Should be interesting, and because it's short, I think it's a good way for me to kind of step into the thriller genre because it's like a quick and easy read. It's not something that's going to take up 16 years of my life. It's about actually it's under 300 pages. It's $2.91. So yeah, these are the books that I got today. It's actually such a cute little color palette. That's super cute. And now I need to actually go pick up Caught Up and continue working on that one. Hello. Let's talk about Caught Up by Liz Tom Forty because I finished this book last night and I realized that I haven't talked to you about it basically at all since I started, so I have quite a bit to say. Now, this is the 3rd book in the Windy City series, so I am talking about something that is like in the middle of the series, but it's not really a spoiler because each of these books are interconnected standalones. I feel like they should be read in order because the characters get together in order, then you'll see them in other people's books. Like the people who are already together in previous books, we have a lot of, which I personally enjoy, seeing them interact with our characters, like a big, you know, found family together. It's really cute. However, I do recommend starting with book 1, which is Mile High, and then getting to Right Move and then going to Caught Up. That being said, if you want to just read Caught Up, you can because they are all separate different couples. And this one was so much fun. I really liked it. Technically, this was an age gap because Kai was 32 and I think Miller's 26, but like it doesn't feel like an age gap in my opinion. I mean, 6 years isn't that crazy in all things considered. And I felt like they balanced each other's personalities out so well that it didn't feel like there was a big age difference. The only difference is, of course, that Kai has a child, Max. And personally, I feel like Max was dealt with really well in this book. Like I said, it's kind of difficult for me to see kids in books. It's either they're done really well and I love them and I want to hold them and hug them and they're amazing, or they piss me off and they're so annoying, which is honestly one of the main reasons why I couldn't get into Wild Love by Elsie Silver, because the kid in that book was just, it pissed me off. you know. Yeah, Max is like 15 to 17 months old in this book, so he's such a little guy, and he's just so cute. I think I mentioned in this video that I volunteered at a children's nursery, so I literally hang around kids this age like once a week, and I love them and I love hanging out with them. So it was really fun to read about Max, in my opinion, from someone who likes kids. What else can I talk about? So the romance is one of those like right person, not enough time on like a sorter scale, because basically Miller is leaving at the end of summer. She has this job where she goes and becomes like a consultant baker chef for different very high-end restaurants for a couple months at a time, and then she moves somewhere else. She lives in a van. She is very nomadic, portable. She goes all over the country, and she wants to take a break because she is getting burnt out of her job, and her dad is the coach, I believe, of the team that Kai works on, so that's why he encouraged her to come nanny for Kai's kid. So she spends the summer like permanent in Chicago, or I guess traveling with the team as well, but with a sense of permanence. She's with her dad for the first time in a long time, like living in the same city as him. She is really getting involved and attached to Max the baby, but also Kai eventually, and as well as his like friends and family and other teammates around him. And so it's like the first time in her life that she gets to actually feel like she has a place to call home. She has attachment, she has connection, and that of course scares her, which is why she is always, you know, dreading but also running towards that deadline at the end of the summer when she goes back to her job that is, you know, traveling around the country. So that's why I say right person, not enough time, because there is a very abundant happy ending that we're all expecting at the end of this book, but there is also the time pressure that is weighing down the two of them. Yeah, I thought the romance was super sweet. Kai is like a hot single dad who wears glasses and has a little scruffy beard. Like, what more could you want in a love interest, to be honest? No, but it's really interesting because I feel like he and his relationship with his son is something I haven't really heard much before. It's about like being a single dad and wanting to give so much to your son because you like adore your son so much, obviously, that you're debating like leaving your job, because obviously he's an MLB player. He has lots of money. He doesn't have to work. Like, he's fine leaving your job to take care of your kid, or like being able to spend time with your kid but also spending time for your passions and taking care of yourself as well. And Miller comes into his life and helps him work out that balance, and he in return helps her figure out like her attachment issues and being okay with having permanence and stability in people around you and leaning on the people around you. So overall, it's just really, really wholesome. This book was actually also really funny. Isaiah, Kai's little brother, who actually is the main character in book 4, so funny. I love him. I love the kid, Max, obviously. Kai and Miller, like iconic characters. Monty, the dad, always had something like knowledgeable and a little nugget of goodness to say. Like, all the characters in this book were honestly just like so good. Such a, not like a warm hug, but it's just like such an enjoyable time to be back in this world again. And it makes me want to really read book 4 because book 5 is coming out sometime this year. So before I get to that one, I of course need to finish the rest of the series first. So yeah, I'm really happy with this one. I checked off another book off of my series list. I read another sports romance. It was a really fun time. So yeah, overall I gave this book 4 stars, which is about where the rest of the series is sitting, like in the 4.5 range. Like, such a good time, honestly. And I really recommend it for a bit of a palate cleanser, or if you want a little bit of a sports romance, because obviously baseball is huge in this book. And I'm personally a big fan of baseball. So it was really fun to read about. As always, do subscribe. I post reading vlogs or other videos every single Thursday. And I will see you guys in my most recent vlog right here on the screen. Okay? Goodbye!